Can I just comment on that? He's absolutely right, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely right. It is.
Can you guys stop agreeing with each other?
No, but for the sake of the audience, it is very important to establish that he's absolutely right. It doesn't determine truth. But I just want you to notice the same argument applies to atheism. If you argue that religion's a comfort and it helps and so on, that's nothing to do with its truth. You would say exactly the same of atheism. So we've got to break out of that, and that's why both of us, as I understand it, are actually interested in evidence.
No, that's why I said atheism isn't a thing to be. It's nothing. It's just I don't believe. That's it.
Do you believe that, do you?
Let's...
Ladies and gentlemen.
No calling out from the audience, thanks. There are microphones for you to call out through, and this gentleman has been waiting at this microphone.
Am I allowed to ask Michael a question? Oh, we'll have this gentleman.
Yeah, all right.
No, I'm very puzzled, and I've heard it from Richard Dawkins too, and Christopher Hitchens, that atheism is a nothing. It's simply the belief in a negative, that there isn't a God. And it's like not believing in Wotan, and I'm an Azucist and all the rest of it. Well, I certainly am an Azucist, ladies and gentlemen. And atheists say they only go one God further. Well, that's like saying that there's not much difference between marriage and celibacy. It's just one relationship less.
Not for all marriages.
I didn't mean that as a substantive point. The thing is this: Richard Dawkins and Michael Shermer and Christopher Hitchens have not written 400 pages on Wotanism, because atheism, although he's perfectly right, it is belief not in God, has a whole set of positive entailments. And as far as I understand, Michael can correct me, his positive philosophy is either materialism or naturalism. That is why he is expounding it to us tonight. And to say atheism is a nothing is, well, I simply don't comprehend it. It is a belief system which includes a negative belief in God and a whole set of positive beliefs. Ask him if he believes atheism.
Okay, quick, so we can move on.
No.
Atheism, is it belief or disbelief?
It's just simply, I don't believe in God. That's it. I mean, when you talk about, yes, I believe there are natural forces at work, that has nothing to do with atheism. I also believe in liberal democracy and free markets. That has nothing to do with atheism either. This is just, you have to specify which particular claim you're making and why you believe it.
We have a question up the back. Participation is good. We have a question up the back, and I'm just going to have to take a brief leave of the auditorium. I'll be back in just a moment. So, your question?
Question in one part.
All day.
Dr. Lennox, you mentioned that Richard Dawkins quoted a professor of German on theology and how that was absurd.
No, on history. History.
Wasn't it German?
No, he quoted, let me get this straight.
Excellent.
He was discussing the question and saying in his book that the historical existence of Jesus is in dispute among scholars. The only authority he cited to prove his point was a professor. That's what he said, Professor G.A. Wells of London. He didn't tell us that Wells is a professor of German. He didn't contact any ancient historian, and therefore made a colossal faux pas in his book. And that undermines my confidence, because you see, ancient history is a discipline where we can check. And if people claim to be interested in evidence, then to do that kind of thing is simply inexcusable. That's the point I'm making.
Okay, now before I go, I want everybody to be nice and clean on this.
I didn't get to my question.
If you wouldn't mind asking a question, and then I'll let you rip.
Excellent. Because a little bit later on you quoted historians for saying that it was impossible that there was any possible cognitive error, and I wonder how a historian could come up with really something would be more of a psychology.
There you go, guys. That's got to keep you guys going for 5 minutes. I'll be right back.
Paul, don't forget to turn off your microphone when you go to the little room.
Got caught on that trick was with Douglas Adams. It was
yes.
very embarrassing.
The answer is 42. I have something to say about that, actually, John.
Yes, please.
I mean, so Dawkins quoted the wrong guy, or he didn't cite him right, or said this is just trivial matters, and whatever experts you happen to be citing, you cited Anthony Flew, is baffled by DNA. So what? So he's baffled by it. There's a lot of scientists that aren't baffled by it, and they're atheists. What difference does it make? How many Australians, 80.1% of Australians believe in God? What's the number, John? 49.9, and then you're going to change your mind? I mean, it's irrelevant how many people believe something. As I said, millions of people believe in Scientology. It's irrelevant how many believe in it. It doesn't matter how many accept Christ's resurrection or what. It's totally irrelevant. These things are either real or they're not.
That's absolutely right. They are either true or they're not. We don't prove things by statistics. But it is interesting to see of our fellow human beings, all of whom I take seriously, what they have decided in this matter. And to say that human belief and its distribution is irrelevant seems to me again to be a question of not feeding all the evidence into the pot. It's not very important evidence. I just gave it as a toss away. It's not very important, I agree with you. But let's not ignore evidence. I don't agree with you, by the way, that this matter of the existence of Jesus is a triviality, because Hitchens does the same, Michel Onfray does exactly the same. It is an attitude that Noam Chomsky has recently commented on. And he says the most dangerous thing in the intellectual sphere today is people who pride themselves and say they're interested in evidence, but when it comes to things that other people believe, they do not make the elementary check on evidence. Now, I have discussed the resurrection, for instance, with Richard Dawkins, and he simply said, I just don't understand how you would possibly be interested in it. And yet it has shaped the faith of millions. It's the historical cause behind the rise of the Christian church. To say you're not interested in it is fine, but then don't talk to me about saying that you are keen on evidence.